It's 3:08 a.m. You wake up for no reason. Your room feels strange. You walk to the window. You pull back the curtain. The sun is shining, not a sunrise, not dawn, bright afternoon sunlight. You check your phone. 3:08 a.m. You refresh it. Still 3:08 a.m. You look outside again. People are standing in the street, all staring at the sky, because somehow the sun never set. And according to scientists, what happens next would change Earth forever. At first, nobody panics. Some people think it's an eclipse. Others blame a strange weather event. Social media fills with videos of bright streets at 3 in the morning. Children laugh. People throw midnight barbecues. News reporters joke about getting free daylight. For a few hours, it almost feels like the world's biggest party. But there's one problem. The Earth isn't supposed to look like this, and neither are you. You'd probably think the first thing to break would be the planet. Actually, it's your brain. Within minutes of seeing sunlight, your body starts making thousands of tiny decisions you never notice. Hormones begin changing. Your body temperature rises. Your brain quietly prepares you to stay awake. Normally, darkness tells your brain it's safe to rest. But now, that signal never comes. Scientists call this your circadian rhythm. Think of it as an invisible clock buried deep inside your brain. For your entire life, it's been using sunrise and sunset to tell every cell in your body what time it is, when to eat, when to think, when to repair damaged tissue, even when to release certain hormones. Now, imagine someone smashing that clock with a hammer. That's what endless daylight would feel like. Of course, you could just close your curtains, maybe even buy blackout blinds. So problem solved, right? Not quite, because your eyes aren't the only things watching the sun. Hidden inside your brain is a tiny cluster of about 20,000 neurons called the suprachiasmatic nucleus. It's smaller than a grain of rice, yet somehow it controls almost every rhythm inside your body. Even tiny amounts of daylight leaking around your curtains can confuse it. And once that clock begins drifting, everything else starts drifting with it. You fall asleep later. You wake up exhausted. Your memory becomes unreliable. Simple decisions suddenly feel difficult. You become impatient for reasons you can't explain. Studies on shift workers show that disrupting this internal clock increases the risk of depression, anxiety, heart disease, obesity, and even certain cancers. And that's with people who still experience normal nights. Imagine if night simply never existed. Cities would probably respond surprisingly fast. Office buildings would install artificial darkness. Schools might cover their windows. Entire neighborhoods could be built beneath enormous light-blocking roofs. Humans are incredibly good at solving problems. For a while, it might even seem like we're winning. But then something unexpected happens. The world outside those buildings refuses to follow our schedule. At 6 in the morning, birds are already singing. By noon, they're still singing. By midnight, they haven't stopped. Because birds don't own clocks. They read the sky. Many species begin nesting at the wrong times. Others keep searching for food long after they should be resting. Some simply exhaust themselves. And birds aren't alone. Flowers that normally close each evening remain open around the clock. Some waste precious energy. Others stop attracting the insects they depend on. Nocturnal animals face an even stranger problem. Owls, bats, foxes. Countless creatures evolved to hunt under darkness. Now the darkness has disappeared. Some wait for a night that never comes. Others risk hunting in broad daylight, where they're suddenly easy targets. Predators lose their advantage. Prey loses its hiding places. Food chains begin shifting in ways scientists have never observed before. But even that isn't the biggest surprise, because there's one group of organisms quietly watching all of this, and their reaction could change the future of every human being on Earth. Plants. You'd think endless sunlight would make them grow forever. More sunlight, more food, more forests. It sounds almost perfect. Except plants aren't solar panels. They're living organisms with their own biological clocks. And just like us, they need darkness too. Every evening, plants switch jobs. During the day, they capture sunlight and make energy. At night, they use that stored energy to repair damaged cells, regulate growth, and prepare for tomorrow. Take the night away. and eventually that entire rhythm begins to fail. Some plants grow too quickly. Others stop flowering altogether. Many crops produce smaller harvests. Fruit trees become unpredictable. Even tiny changes in their internal clocks can ripple through entire ecosystems. Suddenly, this isn't just a biology problem, it's a food problem. Fields that once fed millions begin producing less every season. Farmers experiment with giant blackout curtains stretching across crops. Some countries move farming underground. Others build massive indoor farms lit by carefully controlled artificial days and nights. Ironically, humans would spend enormous amounts of energy recreating the one thing nature gave us for free: darkness. But even if we solved food, another problem would already be spreading: heat. Most people imagine Earth instantly becoming an oven. That isn't exactly what would happen. The planet would still rotate. The sun would still rise higher and lower across the sky. Temperatures would still change throughout the day. But without nighttime, the ground would never get its usual chance to cool. Every afternoon's heat would build on yesterday's. Cities would become giant batteries, storing warmth inside roads, concrete, and glass. Air conditioners would run almost nonstop. Power grids would struggle to keep up. Blackouts become more common, and every blackout creates another impossible choice. Do you open the windows and let the endless sunlight pour inside, or keep them shut and slowly cook in the heat? Oddly enough, people might stop fearing the dark. Instead, they'd start craving it. Dark rooms become expensive. Restaurants advertise candlelit dining. Luxury hotels promise something no one has seen in years: a real night. Children grow up without ever seeing stars. Ask one to draw the sky, and they fill the page with nothing but blue. Constellations disappear from human memory. The Milky Way becomes something you only see in old photographs. Astronomers lose their greatest laboratory. For thousands of years, every civilization looked upward and wondered what was waiting beyond those tiny lights. Without darkness, many of humanity's greatest discoveries might never have happened. Navigation changes, culture changes, religion changes, even language begins changing. Expressions like overnight success, the darkest hour, see you tomorrow morning, slowly stop making sense. Then comes perhaps the strangest consequence of all. Time itself begins feeling artificial. If the sky never changes, what tells you one day has ended? Your watch, your phone, a government clock. For almost all of human history, we never needed them. The sky was our calendar. The sun and the stars quietly organized our lives. Now, civilization survives only because millions of people agree to ignore what they can clearly see outside their windows. Work starts at 9. Dinner is at 7. Bedtime is at 10. Not because the world says so, but because we do. In a strange way, humanity would survive by pretending the sun didn't exist. And maybe that's the biggest surprise. We often think the sun is what makes life possible. But life on Earth was never shaped by sunlight alone. It was shaped by the rhythm between light and darkness. One gives us energy. The other gives us recovery. One tells us when to begin. The other tells us when to stop. Without one, the other loses its meaning. Maybe that's why nearly every living thing on this planet, from the smallest flower to the largest whale, still carries an invisible clock inside it, not counting hours, not counting minutes, but waiting for night. Because perhaps the greatest gift the sun ever gave Earth wasn't just the day, it was also the night. Thank you for watching Vinta.